In this video, we are going to explain a big issue that GCC countries are going through.
The oil stocks.
Volatile oil prices, crumbling crude prices fall.
How much lower does it go?
Crude prices are reaching lows not seen in years.
Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) is a political and economic alliance of 6 Middle Eastern countries: Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and Oman. The purpose of the GCC is to achieve unity among its members based on their common objectives and their similar political and cultural identities, which are rooted in Islamic belief.
According to the article After the Party, published by The Economist, price of oil have fallen during the last 7 months, from $110 per barrel in 2014 to below $50, which is the deepest downturn since 1990. The main reasons are the low demand in many countries due to weak economic growth, and nowadays we have new sources like energy-efficient vehicles.
The drop of the oil price led few consequences, such as economic and political turbulences. This is because most of these countries depend on oil to have an economic stability. It has also reduced government spending. A curious fact stated by the International Monetary Fund estimates that the revenues of Saudi and its Persian Gulf allies will decrease by $300 billion this year.
GCC countries currently hold 30% of the world's proven oil reserves. Altogether, the GCC countries produce 28.6 million barrels per day. This is equivalent to 32.3% of the total global production. As we can see in this image, the production in terms of million barrels of oil per country.
So, regarding to the economic consequences of the drop of the oil, we can see that yes, it has also affected the GDP of all the countries in the GCC. For example, the biggest country in the GCC, Saudi Arabia, we see that the GDP until 2014 has increased a lot due to the high demand of oil in the world. But since those countries has decided to drop the price of the oil, the GDP of Saudi Arabia has decreased a lot in only 1 year. So we see in this graph that the GDP has decreased the same as it increased in 3 years. So that's affected a lot the country. So in the next country, which is Bahrain, it's not the same as Saudi Arabia, because we know that Bahrain is a smaller country, but still the GDP has decreased during the last year, and that's due to the drop of price of oil. So in the other country, Qatar, so we see that Qatar is one of the most oil-dependent country in the GCC. So we see that the GDP has decreased a lot, also significantly more. So it decreased the same as it increased in 3 years. So that affected this country. For the next country, which is Kuwait, is the same situation as Qatar. As we know, Kuwait is a very small country that it's really dependent on the oil. So as they decide to drop the price of the oil, the GDP has also fall down significantly. And Oman, so yes, Oman is also the same situation as the other country. The GDP has increased a lot until 2014, which was a bit more than 80 billions, but since the drop of the price of the oil, it decreased to 70 millions, which represent more or less a 12% of decrease of the GDP. And the last country, which is the UAE, so the situation is a bit different. As we see, the GDP has also decreased, but less than the other country, because the UAE has a more diversified source of income. As we know, the famous city of Dubai, which they all represent only 5% of their income, and then they have a lot of tourism also in the city, which give them also income. So we can see that the GDP has decreased, but not as much as the other country.
As you will see in this video, we are taking Dubai as an example because it's one of the most important places in the project. You might know that Dubai is an icon for the GCC countries. due to his high popularity around the world. Indeed, we will explain throughout the project why those countries should take the city of Dubai as a model in order to improve.
Although Dubai's economy was initially built on revenues from oil industry, from petroleum and natural gas, currently it accounts for less than 20% of the Emirates' GDP. Dubai has been able to diversify its sources of income, promoting their tourism by building hotels and developing real estate. For example, tourism produces 20% of the GDP, and it's the 7th most visited city of the world and the fastest growing, increasing by 10% rate. Also, Dubai is expected to accommodate over 16 million tourists by 2016.
In conclusion, we can clearly see that the city of Dubai should be the model of all the GCC countries. As we have seen, the amount of oil in the past has permitted Dubai to create an international city and one of the most visited cities in the world. Nowadays, oil represents only 5% of the total income of Dubai. The city has now focused its income on tourism and real estate. Therefore, the GCC countries should take Dubai as a model and start to invest in different sectors such as tourism, real estate, and financial services.